What is up, everyone, and welcome to Drop In, where we have open, authentic conversations about all things mental health, including digital burnout, how we reclaim our attention and energy. Dr. Jackie.
Hero.
You're here.
In the flesh.
How many scroll holes do you think you fall into per week?
More than I am probably aware of.
You're like, so many.
So many.
How do I even track it?
Yeah. If I had to put in a guesstimate on it, I would say probably close to like somewhere between 36 and 72.
What? That seems like your entire week.
Yeah, I think it happens just like a lot, like throughout the course of a day. Does that not happen for you?
I think if I get in a scroll hole, it's at once per day.
Really?
Yeah.
God. What's that like?
And if it's gonna happen, I think how we define what a scroll hole is, to me, it's like above. I'm creating a working definition on the fly.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't look this up.
Yeah. What's your definition?
Above 20 minutes where you sort of lose purpose, intent, and you're literally just scrolling. I think it has to be more than 20 minutes.
Okay. I stick to my number.
You're like, actually, more like 250. No, but it's this sense that, again, you go on mindlessly or with intent, which is, we'll get into all that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, 20 minutes plus has elapsed and you're like, oh God.
I mean, in my defense, I think I do this even without my phone, where I literally just like fall into some random abyss of like nothingness that I just think is my time blindness in a lot of ways. So like I could do this probably even without a phone. I think it's just easier to do it with my phone.
Because of this thing called dopamine.
Yes, which mine does not regulate appropriately. So I think I'm more susceptible.
And to put like a definition out there of like what dopamine is, I think a lot of people get confused thinking dopamine is the hit we get after a reward.
Right.
But it's the seeking.
Yes, it's the motivation. It is essentially the precursor, like looking forward to getting a hit from something.
So we need it for things.
Yes.
Like motivation to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it is what gets sort of locked in this modern era of social media, especially.
Yeah.
Of social media knows the variances for you, your algorithm of like about every fifth video, if we hit them with the cute cat video, we'll keep their attention.
Can't go wrong with those.
But if it's all cat videos, too many, then they're going to lose interest. So maybe a little politics, a little arts and crafts. I mean, I don't know what your algorithm is.
Yours is just Pomeranians.
I get a lot of it. The Pomeranian videos are like, probably 1 out of 5.
But it actually makes me think a lot about even like that interval ratio of reinforcement, right? Of like every couple of videos, you're getting like pulled in a little bit extra, or you're getting a little extra hit of like, ooh, I really like this, or I'm getting sucked in a little bit more. And that is actually the most reinforcing, because that is essentially a slot machine.
Right. Variable ratio, correct?
That's what it is.
Am I right?
I think so.
As you said, we're trying to find the exact words. So was I. And I'm like, I need to go back to
variable.
Psychology 101. I don't have my terms always exactly in a row. Yeah, I think variable ratio. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Like the slot machine of you don't know what you're about to get. But it's even more than the slot machine because they know what you like.
Right. Yeah. So you're getting hit after hit of this jackpot. It's just different levels of the jackpot.
How many hours do you think The average American, something I did look up.
Oh, same.
The average. Oh, you already
Well,
know.
I don't know if it was the average American. I looked up the
Oh.
average adult and how many hours they spend on phones.
Mine wasn't just phones. In front of any screen in a day. How many hours and minutes?
I think it was over 7, right?
Just barely over 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. It really, maybe because I was born in 1985. Over 7 hours. When I read that, I had to think, how many hours am I even awake in the day?
I know.
And I had calculated, I think like 15 or 16.
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, honestly, I'm not super shocked by that though. Because more and more people are working on computers.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, literally think about the school reaching out this week being like, please tell your kids what it is that you do for work.
No, we got to tell that.
Fact.
So our school uses an app like a lot of schools do. And they were like, basically the entire class said, except for one kid.
They asked all the kids what their parents did for work.
And every kid said, my parent works on a computer. Except one kid. And I would say our kid was sick that day.
So funny.
And I don't know what he wouldn't have said that, but maybe he would have done a social contagion. And since almost all the other kids said, my mommy or daddy works on a computer.
That's so funny. But it's not surprising, right? Because even people that go into an office still that aren't necessarily even working from home, who do you know that's not using a computer at some point during their day?
Right.
Right? Like even people who are working in the field a lot of times, even like police and stuff, they have computers in their car. I guess if you're doing like more of like a manual labor type job.
I was thinking in our neighborhood, we happen to have at least 2 people who own landscaping companies. And I immediately thought of them. I'm like, I bet they're not on the computer throughout the day. It makes me envious because, when we wake up early, they're already out, doing all the landscaping stuff. And but thinking of other jobs where there's no screen is really hard to think of.
Yeah, I think it's really just like manual labor, even construction. Like a lot of them are using phones or using some sort of technology in the process of that, like some more than others, obviously. But it makes you realize how much we are dependent on technology. And also how much we are, whether it's a computer, a phone, a TV, how much we are consuming from all of these different places.
Yeah, at all times. I'm even thinking now, in my car, how huge that screen is.
Yeah.
I don't know if that counts or whatever, but just the screens are everywhere.
I mean, even just thinking about that, when is our TV ever off?
Yo, that's a really good point. That you kind of blindsided me with that one.
I thought I might, actually.
The TV is off for the 8 hours that we sleep.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Wake up in the morning, that's one of the first things I do is turn on the TV.
The first thing you do.
Yeah, it is.
And even if none of us are watching it, it's still just playing in the background.
Such a good point. Because, I'm not even usually watching, but I immediately turn on SportsCenter. Sporty McSportster over here.
But you know what I realized, too? Because when I lived by myself, I didn't do that. I had the sound bar where I would just, like, listen to music a lot because I know myself enough to know that, like, if I walk past it and it's on, I'll get sucked in.
Yeah, that gets into our executive functioning differences of, like, ability to pivot. Which probably gets into the amount of scrolling and doom scrolls because I'm most likely to get stuck in a doom scroll first thing of the day. Once my day starts, it's not to say never, but it's far less likely. versus the very start of the day or the very end.
Yeah, which part of me wonders if that's because we're kind of tired and our brain just like mindlessly goes to this place to like dissociate.
Which is another mental health thing we should probably dig up and define of in general, the more time you spend on a screen, better or worse for you.
I mean, I think it's obviously worse. I mean, there's way more issues with anxiety, depression, sleep,
Even self-esteem. Yep.
self-esteem, mood in general.
This is correlational, but and it feels obvious from our side of things as
Right.
psychologists and therapists, but at the same time, it's everywhere.
Right.
So it still needs to be stated of like, again, correlationally, the more time you spend on screens, sort of the worse, but then you get into how people are using it. And then this is where we see the difference kind of come up in the data.
Right.
This sort of, working definitions of actively using or passively using.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea of what would be worse for your mental health, actively using or passively using?
Well, how do you define those two?
Passively is doom scrolling.
Okay.
And actively is I'm going on to message my friend on Instagram, chat with them, maybe even meet up with somebody to play a video game.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you define it in those ways, passive is definitely going to be worse because you're so disconnected. But at least if you're actively using your phone or social media to connect with other people, at least there's some element of connection. But passively doom scrolling, which I feel like so many of us fall into, it becomes this like automatic habit. And I know for me, I just automatically look at my phone and I know exactly where Instagram is or TikTok is or any of these apps that like you just naturally go to and gravitate towards, that it's so second nature. I don't even realize that I'm doing it or I'm not doing it intentionally. It's just so habitual that I open my phone, even if I'm, again, like going to look at something else. I'm going to check my emails. I'm going to respond to a text. If I then respond to the text, I'll just immediately jump over to social media without even thinking about it.
Happens so fast, doesn't it?
Right?
So fast. And
like, is that just a me thing?
No. Oh God, no. And I think a lot of our listeners will relate to that. 100% I relate to that. I think, and it depends on a lot of factors, but in my average day, when I catch myself doing that, it's within a few minutes. Like, what am I doing here? I just sent an email. Now I'm all of a sudden on Instagram and I'll pivot off.
Yeah.
If I'm stressed, if I'm anxious, if I'm sleep deprived, that's when I feel like I'll go from an email to a scroll hole and then be like, dude, that was 30 minutes. What am I even doing on the gram? And it just happens so fast.
Yeah. And it's hard too, because especially when you have ADHD, you're more susceptible to that. And the research shows that as well, right? Like that very much correlates with getting lost in these doom scrolls because you're not even realizing it, or you're getting stuck in this time blindness where you're not having the same level of awareness or intentionality behind the way that you're using it, but also the amount of time that you are spending in that place. Because for me, I might think it's 5 minutes and 35 minutes go by and I'm sitting in the same place in a sit pit and I haven't moved other than my thumb.
It's so interesting because that's one of the biggest parts I hate about being a content creator is it's so easy to like get stuck. And the time it happens to me the most is when I'm like, I wonder if there's any trending audios out there. That is like the biggest trap.
Yeah.
I should never try to use trending audios again, but I enjoy them. They're fun. And you feel like you're a part of the gang of creators out there using this cool trending audio and how did you use it? And I do enjoy it. But as soon as I start scrolling for trending audios, like good night.
Yeah.
Good night. Like it just time flies by and all of a sudden I'm like, dang it, I was doing this to create content, and now
Right.
I'm sort of stuck looking at all these different things.
But do you notice it like within a couple of minutes or like even within 10 minutes?
In that context, no, like time will go by because I'm like, in my brain, I'm telling myself I'm working, which is true.
True.
You know,
Yeah.
content creation is part of my work, but it's harder to get out of it because it's almost like, well, I'm here for my work.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden I'm like, wait, I'm not on that audio I saved anymore. Now I'm looking at some random sale going on. Like, I don't need another hat. Like, what is this? But like, it does. It happens that fast because like, you just have those experiences where you do doom scroll
Mm-hmm.
and that can just take over.
Right. And I think part of the problem or the challenge a lot of times too is on the front end, doom scrolling feels like an escape. It feels like a break
Mhm.
for a lot of people. So I'll talk to clients about this often, actually, of like, yeah, I just like didn't want to do anything, felt really low or felt really overwhelmed. So I just like doom scrolled, and that was my like break or escape or coping tool. And while I am never going to hate on that or say like, no, you can never doom scroll or check your phone or look at Instagram or TikTok or whatever, I think there is also a difference between, like you're saying, the active versus passive, and the reinforcement that we get a lot of times through doom scrolling that actually isn't as relaxing as we probably think it is or are believed to feel that it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's becoming an escape. An
Mm-hmm.
escape from what? And that's why I had named for myself of like when I'm really anxious, when I'm stressed, I'll find myself doing it more. I'm escaping what I feel.
Yeah.
I'm escaping pain,
Mm-hmm.
discomfort, whatever it might be. I'm actively escaping that. It never helps me work through it.
Yeah. And as we're talking through that kind of process and reinforcement, it makes me think a lot about smoking and
Mm,
how a lot of times, like, people, especially used to, not as much anymore, but even still, would go to have a cigarette while
mm,
they're stressed,
interesting.
thinking that it makes them feel calmer. But the reality is, physiologically, that cigarette isn't actually regulating you or making your body calmer. It's actually increasing all of your physiology and all of your symptoms and stimulating you. But you associate it with the escape. And I think social media, especially, is the same, where we need this escape. So we kind of doom scroll, but we're not actually regulating ourselves because the content that we are exposed to is actually so, like, I don't know, just very, very eye catchy and like
Stimulating.
stimulating in
Right.
all of these ways. So, as I'm thinking about this, and again, I'm guilty of doing this, but I'm starting to realize how reinforcing it is in these just very similar ways, even to like smoking a cigarette.
100%. And it's, again, not picking on people that smoke, but a lot of times you will see that of like people will get a bump of anxiety, stress.
Mm-hmm.
I worked a million part-time jobs and I know you have too. And, the people who did smoke, it's like a stressful run would come through,
Mm-hmm.
in the retail and the food place you work. And then afterwards, people are like, oh, I'm going to go smoke.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, yeah, you just experienced stress. And so smoking is going to give you a little bit of a, break. And again, nicotine can impact you in a lot of different ways, which is a little bit more complex, but I'm with you of, it almost makes you wonder, again, you think about, especially pre-phones, these
Mm-hmm.
modern phones that we
Yeah.
have. It's like, what did people do? And this is where it's like the term time displacement sort of comes in of like, the time we're spending on our phones, on our screens, and social media is taking away time
Mm-hmm.
we would be doing walking,
Right.
exercise,
Yep.
getting outside, journaling, again, depending if it's more active use, are you calling a friend? Are you connecting with someone?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, are you regulating yourself? Are you expressing what is sitting with you? Or are you creating connection?
Mm-hmm.
Because the passive scrolling doesn't do shit in terms of any of those categories.
No.
And we all do it. We're all here.
Right.
We're all part of the same sort of digital AA in this. So there's no judgment, but it's really looking at it because we're all susceptible to this.
Yeah. No, it's so fascinating. Even just thinking about like sitting in discomfort, like we don't do this very much anymore, right? Like that tends to be the crutch anytime we're feeling awkward, anytime we're feeling odd in a social situation, or you don't want to have a conversation with the person next to you, you're on your phone. Or if you are stressed out, if you're feeling low, if you're feeling anything, a lot of times our tendency is to go on our phones.
It's so interesting. I just saw this video last night, which like, look at me, at night. I'm on my phone. So just because we have the difference in doom scrolling doesn't mean I'm not on my phone, because I am. But I saw a video of like a woman, looked like in her 20s or whatever, but she's in what had to be New York City subway, has to be. And it's a very viral video, but she's just walking. Her friend is filming her, and she's like weaving through all the people waiting for the train or the subway. And she's like, see, no one cares what you do at all. You can act however you want. And she's like like being so loud, and it's packed. No one, not a single person is looking at her.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone like in the background, earbuds in, on their phone. And granted, there's some confounding variables. This is New York. People are like, mind your damn business. Like, you would know better than me. But like, you
could be screaming in the middle of the street naked, and people would be like, not even take a second look. That's just like the norm.
But there was a top comment on there that was like, this is dystopian and depressing as hell. And I'm like, just thinking about that, because in a way it's like, it's kind of nice when you're like, especially in, an overstimulating environment, that you can kind of plug into yourself and be in your own world. But that has a cost.
Right.
Because I think about like all the times, like even in my undergrad, again, this was pre these things.
Yeah.
In my undergrad, you showed up to a party, you didn't know anybody. Nobody was on their phone.
Yeah.
Like the phone you had was like useless. It had like,
it was a brick.
Call me after 7:30 p.m. because that's when I don't have my minutes anymore. But like maybe you got like a text. Like this is again, like texting really started blowing up like at the end of my undergrad.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm not saying this to say it was better or worse per se, but I'm saying what a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had to roll up and like look around. You had to talk to somebody. And again, now I am sounding very like boomer, but it's just obvious of like in kids these days, of course, they'll never know that.
Right.
But there's a real cost to that.
It's interesting. It makes me think too about how your phone has been not working lately and not charging. And for some reason, Justin is just being stubborn and not getting a new phone.
Well, new phones are so expensive.
Yeah, that's the reason.
So expensive.
But so there have been a number of times where you have left the house without your phone, right? Because it needs to charge, or it's dead, or you're finagling the cord in some odd, strange way. It's like dangling from the ceiling, but like that's the only way it'll connect. I don't know.
Such Mission Impossible. I've gone through 4 chargers because my phone is so fried, but I have this one charger that if you flip it the right way, it'll still charge my phone. And that's when
you have to like talk really nice to it first.
I unplug it and plug it back in. It's really hitting my nostalgia of the NES, like blowing it. I've been blowing in it. This has been going on for like weeks.
Funny. But so the amount of times lately that you've left your phone, and both of us at first were like, oh God, like what if like something happens? And then at one point you were like, okay. And if something happens, I'll do what I used to do, like, and just walk and go somewhere or talk to someone.
I would speak to another individual. I'd find a trusted adult. Especially nowadays, everyone else has a phone. If I'm like, what would go? I'm having a medical emergency. Like, what would even happen that I'm like, oh my God. But like, it is weird to think, to your point of like
we're so, I was going to say connected, but connected isn't quite the right word. We're so attached, I would say, and dependent on our phones and so used to that I think there's just this sense of you always have to be in constant contact, constant communication. And there's this pressure to always be, you know, a text message away or a phone call away or 10 seconds to respond to this text. And we're just expected to always respond immediately to everything.
Right. Right. And I think people can even think in their own lives or do the mental game of like, if you walked out of your house, apartment, dorm, whatever right now, and you just went for a walk without your phone, I'm with you that there's a sense of like, oh, shoot, I don't have my phone.
Yeah.
Like I don't have an earbud in. I always wear one when I go for my walks. But it would be unsettling. But then it's like zooming out and being like, what do we think about that?
Right.
That we have become so dependent to this that just you going for a walk outside, that it just gives you that like, oh, you know, I don't, but is this, you know, forever for us? And if the data does say generally it's not good for us.
Yeah.
This is why, you know, more and more schools going phoneless. Like I'm in favor of that because to me, it's like, you know, my counter question is always like, well, what about after the school? What about when they go to college?
Yeah.
You know, the phones are going to be there. So you can kind of always be in that realm. But like, are we going to get, and they're opening, I saw this too on Instagram, that they're opening clubs now, phoneless clubs.
Yeah.
Got to check in your phone. You're not allowed to bring that phone in there. Cannot have it. I want that experience. Like if in Delray Beach, they open the phoneless club, I'm going. We're going. Because I just want to be there.
Yeah. I think there's just more and more people that are starting to wake up to this real like phenomenon that like we are so connected to our phones that we are not connected to other people and life, and that we are very much detached and mindless. And I've seen a bunch of people lately really like highlighting this on social media and being like, I don't want to spend my entire life on my phone. I'm going to start exploring hobbies. And so they're like, I mean, using technology and like documenting them like trying new hobbies and stuff. But they're showing that their screen time went from like, you know, 12 hours a day or whatever it was down to even like 4 or 5 hours, which is a drastic difference. But I think part of the challenge a lot of times is we've become so accustomed to that immediate reinforcement that we never have a chance to be bored or explore anything anymore.
Within ourselves, within others, within the places we are. And this is how I'd frame it to you. And again, I would wonder what the audience would say. In every human you've ever known who has either taken a social media break or a screen break, what have you heard them report?
That they always feel better after.
I have never, like, let's really sink into this. I've never heard a single human ever tell me a negative cost to that.
Right.
I've never once heard like, oh my God, I just got so depressed without my phone. Or I wasn't, I reduced my screen time and I immediately felt worse and it just lingered for, I've never met that person.
Yeah. And I think, sure, immediately, yes, you might be uncomfortable, you might feel anxious, you might have that transition that feels yeah, uncomfortable, because anything that we do different from our normal day to day is going to feel uncomfortable. But I don't think uncomfortable is bad. A lot of times, uncomfortable leads to growth, leads to more space to be creative, more space to think and be present and mindful and connected.
Because I don't know about you, but I've never taken an intentional break. But I think about in our lives when naturally, like we have our days where we're like not on our phones at all.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of like, when we went camping. I
Mm-hmm.
can think about like when we go like kayaking, paddleboarding. I'm thinking like even like when we go to the amusement parks in Orlando.
Yoga.
Yoga, even though that's like that's very time limited. I'm thinking of like
True.
whole days
Yeah.
where we're like not on our phone. It's like nature activity,
Mm-hmm.
outdoors, or something really social, or
Yes.
concerts and stuff like that. Sure,
Yeah.
but those are more time limited. But I think about all those days where my days are more filled with something other than screen.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any of those days that I'm like, God, it'd been so much better if I was on a screen.
Yeah.
Not one. And
Yeah.
again, I'm open that there might be some degree of individual differences. I named a ton of nature shit that some people are going to be like, oh, I don't like any of those things.
Sure.
But if you just, to me, the more of like the thought question of on days where you're naturally just not on your phone or screens
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing other things, do you feel better those days or no?
Well, I think even about when we went camping, and let me just put this caveat in there that when I say camping, I mean not camping.
The
I
correct
mean,
term is glamping. We
yeah, we
went
were in a tiny
glamping,
home
tiny home.
that
Yeah.
like had air conditioning and like, yeah, it was beautiful. But like
No Wi-Fi.
no Wi-Fi.
Yeah, not like a tiny home, like electricity tiny
Right.
home,
No,
but
it was like
AC.
it had AC and like a bed and doors, you know. But I don't think I have slept better or like had my circadian rhythm be that reset in years.
Yeah, because you wake up early with the sun.
Right.
You're out in nature literally all day.
You're tired from doing things and not staring at a phone all day.
And when the sun goes down, and anyone who's out there is like, duh, this is camping 101. But if you've never had this experience, I'm telling you, this would blow your mind. When you're out in nature all day and the sun goes down and there's not a million screens in your life,
Mhm.
you get tired so fast.
Yes.
And you'll be like, it's only 8:15.
But like body tired, like you're tired from actually doing stuff and not just like mentally, emotionally tired, but your body is wired.
But it's because you're getting natural melatonin release.
Right.
There's not a ton of light switches.
Mhm.
We're in this freaking room with all these. I mean, we got to have good lighting for social media, for God's sakes. But like, it's dark everywhere.
Yeah.
Even in that tiny home, like it's a little ass like light. There's
Mhm.
no screens. There's no nothing. The reduction of light pollution, we know we have this data.
Yeah.
You naturally will release melatonin, and people will have all these sleep problems. Like, oh my God, like now I felt tired. I went to sleep.
Yeah.
And you could argue of like, you also don't have a million distractions and this and that, but those distractions emit a shit ton of light.
Right. Yeah. And again, like I have not slept better and actually had my circadian rhythm be that on par in years.
It really is that extraordinary. And I'm thinking for the people listening, they're like, oh, what? Now I got to go camping to like fix this.
No, by no means am I saying that. And I am definitely not pushing camping on anyone. But I definitely talk to so many people who are feeling so burnt out and so much pressure to constantly be on or be connected in these ways, like always responding to their text messages within however long, or responding to this email, or just constantly on a Teams call or on a chat, or, their work has 4 different kinds of apps and channels that they're connected to people and at all hours of the day and night. And it's like they are so burnt out on screens, on constantly being in contact with people all day, but not necessarily feeling connected to people. And I think this is something that is very much becoming more and more of a problem.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's becoming more of a problem, and the leap in that is the addictive nature
Mm-hmm.
and the connectivity through work that you're naming, but the addictive nature that social media algorithms are.
Yeah.
So social media, I do think, is a huge part of that. But also, yes, this idea that like, well, you can check your email anytime.
Mm-hmm.
You can respond to my text anytime.
Yeah, you're expected to.
Yeah, even like, again, dating ourselves, but in the 2000s, you can have bad cell service.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you really have bad cell service nowadays?
It's like you're tracking people.
Yeah, they
You
know
literally have people's location.
at all times. No, like these things are just less and less. You're just always available.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
And I think that puts a certain amount of pressure and takes an emotional toll on people too, because not only are you expected to do your day-to-day, necessities and things that you have to be doing for either work or your house or whatever, but on top of it, then also being available at all times to everyone on your phone and staying up to date with things on social media and the fear of missing out and all of that also plays a role in, again, reinforcing that. There's this inherent pressure that I think trying to keep up with the digital world and where technology is at, I think it's, leading to a lot of burnout for people.
And it just doesn't fill our cup the same way. Again, I'm a believer in the data. And so if you're using technology as a tool, and this is where things like online gaming with friends has benefits. You go on Snapchat and you're connecting, you're chatting back and forth with your friend. That can lead to increased connectivity and feeling belonging. This is in the data. The problem with that is there's so many other things you're doing on that screen throughout a day. They're not increasing connection. They're not sort of like, providing you education or these other expansive things or grounding things. They're just mindless.
Right. And I think part of the difference that even I'm seeing for myself is the intentionality and how it's actually making you feel.
Right.
Right. Because again, like myself included, my brain just automatically is so used to jumping right into Instagram or TikTok or whatever that I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just automatically doing that anytime I pick up my phone, whether it was to look at something on my phone, check my email, check a text, answer a call, or just pick up my phone off my desk. I'm immediately doing that because I'm so used to doing it, and it's not intentional. And again, thinking about, okay, this might feel like a little bit of an escape for this current moment, but then if I truly think about it after, like once I am done doom scrolling or I put my phone down or whatever, do I feel any better after? Typically, the answer is no. And if anything, I would say probably worse because I'm not very mindful. I feel like I just wasted an hour of my life. I didn't really get much out of it, and I don't feel any calmer or more relaxed.
Exactly. Yeah, for myself, no. The answer is no. Like, I'm positive of that. Like, and it's not to say I've never left a single doom scroll because I'll catch myself laughing or I do with those Pomeranian videos. But at the same time, it's like in a true doom scroll, no. Like I don't feel any better, uplifted. I know my mental health measures would be worse.
Yeah. And I don't think we take stock in that enough. Like I really don't even consider these things on a day-to-day basis, right? Like until we have intentional conversations about it. And the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, wow, I think I need to maybe start doing some like cleanses or like set some intentional boundaries with myself just for that exact sake of like, I don't want to fall into that unintentionally. Sure, intentionally, if I want to go and look at something or I want to, you know, learn more about XYZ thing, I can look that up or I can search that on social media or give myself some time. That's fine. But to do it and come from a place of intentionality versus not and just out of like habit, I think are two very different things.
They are. And I think, in filling in this conversation, what else are you doing? And that's where I feel like for clients that I have, that needs the most sort of exploration, because I hear you. It's like, it's no one's fault we're here.
Right.
I mean, maybe you can blame some billionaires out there, corporations, greed, lots of things. And again, not all technology is bad. Oh God, we got to talk about the robot at some point.
God, yeah.
Whole nother conversation. But it's really thinking of like, what else would you be doing? Because the thing is, like, as we explore, and I ask people of like, what screenless activities have you thought of like, maybe I would like to, but you haven't.
Right.
And it's so interesting. It's like, a client name, like, I've always thought about going kayaking. There's a lot of places around here. Like, I've even gone as far as like looking them up, but I've like thought like maybe that's something, but then I'm like, I don't know. Like, what if I'm bad at it? What if I get in trouble? Like, what if? And I think that's the place screens keep us in, is doubt.
Yeah.
You doubt yourself so bad, you can't even go out there and be like, yeah, I'll jump in this kayak. I'm wearing a life jacket. Like, it's going to be okay.
That's such a good point.
But we're so used to the damn comfort of screens. We're not challenging ourselves like we used to. And again, I'm going to sound like a boomer. In the 90s, we were reckless as hell. And I'm not saying that's good either. We all had like 7 concussions growing up in the 90s. It was really bad. But like, you just tried shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is just lost right now in this digital era of like, we've become so afraid to try things. And it's, again, not our fault, but we got to break through that. We got to be like, I don't want this life to end without me knowing what it's like to sit in this damn kayak.
Yeah.
Freaking taking the sights and sounds and figure out which way does this paddle go? Am I doing it backwards? Am I doing it right? And do I have too many layers on? Do I need to reapply sunscreen? We need to be out there. We're starting a kayak business.
Dad. No, it's so true. Like, even thinking about that fact of like, we don't try a lot of new things anymore. And again, the research shows that we need more time to be bored in order to be creative, especially for kids nowadays that are like, every kid has a tablet by age 2 these days. I mean, not every, obviously, but like most kids, you see them on phones or tablets. And all of the research is showing that kids need some time to be bored. That's when they get creative. That's when they get innovative. Like, I remember playing with like paper towel rolls when we were like kids, and like making arts and crafts out of things like that, because you were just like more innovative in that way. And I think that's something that we've kind of lost along the way. And I'm noticing that as an adult, but even like for kids nowadays.
I think that, and maybe, we're seeking it out, but I think in parenting, there's a big push that way. The amount of screenless activities, like toys I see marketed.
Yeah.
Like, I think that has a big resurgence. I think it's more for adults, meaning adults, like the problem is more in adulthood. It's not that I don't care about the kids.
Right.
And maybe, again, I'm still owning, maybe it's in my parenting world that I'm seeing more people like, trying to do screenless activities. Because it's like, we're trying to do better for the kids. How are you trying to do better for yourself? That's what I'm asking you.
Right.
What new activity are you doing for yourself? What screenless activity are you doing for yourself? I think so many of us as parents, and parents take a shit ton of blame, but I think too many of us as parents, it's like, you're sacrificing for your kid. You're doing differently for your kid. What are you doing differently for you?
But I think it's also important to emphasize the fact that that would also impact your kid, right?
Oh,
Like your screen time is also impacting your kids
absolutely.
because one, you're more disconnected in general, right? Them included. But you're also, your mental health is then going to have a direct impact on them. So us being more intentional, us taking time, us being more mindful is always going to impact our kids in a positive way.
Absolutely. And I know you're using the word boredom, and I don't disagree with the term boredom because I'm with you. I'm like, kids might be like, I'm bored, or even us as adults be like, well, this is kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
The word I would replace, and of course, as a mindfulness practitioner, is you're present.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be present and have gaps of attention, meaning your attention doesn't always need to be captured by a screen.
Right.
It's okay just to be present where you are. You can go to a park and just take in the sights, the sounds, the feelings on your skin, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But I think and know, because the war on attention with marketing and everything else, people immediately equate like boredom equals discomfort, which equals bad for me, versus to be like being present means I can, have option and I can notice things coming through my senses, and that's good for me.
Right.
And I can create from that place or just explore. Again, you can finally look over across the park and be like, look, there's a boat dock there and there's J&J kayaks. I heard about that on the podcast, and there's a discount code for 20% off your first voyage.
Oh my God.
J&J kayaks.
I love that we're promoting this fake kayak business more than our actual therapy business. Solid marketing.
You're like, I think you've shouted out our private practice once ever
You're doing great
on this podcast, but you are now shouted out this kayak company that doesn't exist at least 3 times.
Oh my God.
Hey, mytherapyclub.com if you need a psychological assessment, therapy, but more importantly, J&J kayaks.
So funny.
But even this conversation has just been really reflective, for me, because again, we get into this, but sitting here thinking, I'm like, when I'm on my skateboard, when we go for our bike rides, and when we meet up with friends, I won't be on I'll feel less inclined when we're interacting with our friends out and about. That's why I love live music. Catch me in the club. But like, those are the moments I'm thinking of, all these moments, self-reflecting for myself, of when I'm like, I don't want to be on my phone.
Right.
And it is a lot of nature doing and
right. And I think it's important too, especially if you are wanting to reduce screen time or really be intentional about that. I think it's important to have something to replace it a lot of times, right? Because if the alternative is just sitting in your bed or sitting on the couch or doing nothing, sure, if you are going to sit there and be present and like, have mindful moments, fantastic. Never going to hate on that. But I think those moments a lot of times feel so uncomfortable, especially in the beginning, that it can make it easier if we have certain alternatives on the front end to potentially replace that with, or even exchange it out for. And again, that could be going for a walk, that could be sitting outside in nature, that could be reading a book or having a conversation or any of these things that we're kind of naming. But sometimes it's easier to have some of those potential alternatives on the front end, even things that you want to explore. And like, that's again what I'm seeing some of these people on social media doing or challenging themselves with, of like, I'm going to pick a new hobby every week and I'm going to like try this thing for an hour a day, or give myself this amount of time that I'm going to replace my doom scrolling with crocheting or knitting or crafting or reading, whatever it is, just to kind of help ease that transition sometimes.
And it's just so apparent. It's just so apparent, in the work that we do, that the clients who are the most disconnected, the most disengaged, the most with the least amount of hobbies and the most sort of like, just on screens passively. Like you do see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see it in our work, and you can always argue chicken and the egg, and I'm not here to argue sort of one side of that of like the screens cause this, or
Right.
if you're going through depression, I understand it's like the low lift
Mm-hmm.
into that. And part of me is like, yeah, if you join like an online support group, you got a cool Discord group,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing some online D&D, your game and stuff, like I've seen that be real helpful for people.
Right.
So it's not all or nothing, but again, you see the opposite. When
Mm-hmm.
people are like doing well, they have the hobbies, they have the crafts, they have their social group, they're actively trying new things.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just see it.
Yeah. And these are like, again, the trends that we're seeing as therapists, both in our own lives, right? And also in our clients' lives and how that impacts them. And I think that is so important to highlight. And again, as someone who has ADHD and is more susceptible to some of these automatic kind of unintentional doom scrolls, there are certain things that you can do to be more intentional about making those decisions, whether that be, moving your social media off of your home screen or putting it in a different folder or putting your phone in grayscale or putting timers and things like that, just to like give you more of an awareness of the times that you're using social media or your phone in general. But a lot of times that has to do with, again, the automatic habit
Right.
and cues of picking up your phone or doing something on your phone. So there are definitely things that you can try to reduce some of the cues and the triggers for, and again, replace and be more intentional about having space and time to do things that don't necessarily require your phone.
For sure. And you made the point that's the most important is it's going to feel awkward.
Yes.
Like when I said, like, just imagine yourself walking out of the house, like it's going to feel awkward at first.
Mm-hmm.
But I promise you, on the fourth time you go for that walk
Mm-hmm.
without your phone, it's going to feel far less awkward than that first.
Yes.
And it's the practice of, because you can do anything once and be like, nah, I felt kind of anxious and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But that's once. That's like trying a new activity once. It's
Right.
like, you got to see it through again to give it enough times to see if it's like, is this my anxiety? Is this self-criticism? Is this, whatever it is. We also got to shout out, and I can't remember the name of it. Hank Green's app
Mm-hmm.
is an awesome one.
Yes.
Oh shoot, I can't remember the name of it.
Wasn't it Habit Buddy? Something Buddy? Or
Y'all just
did I make
Google
that
Hank
up?
Green app. It's gonna come up. But you know, Hank Green's an awesome dude all the way around. Science, educator, creator, good advocate. But he created this app that helps you gamify
Mm-hmm.
being off your phone.
Yeah.
And like you create this little thing with your worm, and it's cute. It's really cool. But there are a lot of these things out there to sort of help you. But I'm with you of like, there has to be the courage to try something different that you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to know, like, you don't have to know
Right.
these things. I just saw a whole nother category that I've seen a number of clients get into, and that's martial arts.
Mm.
Not to go all and all into that, but things like that, like dance, martial arts, things that are so engaging that
Right.
when you're there, you would just never be on your phone. Of course, me and you love yoga.
Yeah.
We go on and on about that, but it's like, gosh, you'd be kicked out of the
You would
shalai
be
if you shunned forever. The yoga studio you go to, if your phone was anywhere near you, you can forget about it. But
Yeah.
I think those are the curiosities we got to build within ourselves. Is like, you don't have to know,
Mm-hmm.
but like, what could you try that is screenless, just
Yeah.
to test out, to see how you feel?
And it's cool if certain things hit more than others, right?
Of course.
You try knitting and you're like, this sucks. That's fine.
Sorry,
On
there
to the next
are
thing,
plenty
right?
of things out there.
Right. There are an endless supply of things that you can try or look into or read about, or, even thinking about, again, like when we go for our walks, right? Sometimes I won't bring my phone. I try to actually be intentional about not bringing my phone because I'm like, I don't want to look at this.
No.
I want to actually just like be outside, be in nature, try to be more mindful. And even like last weekend when we were repotting plants, right? Like I was out there for God knows how many hours, like 6 hours, and didn't check my phone once because I was just like planting and playing in dirt and like doing things like that. But those are the moments where you start to realize like, oh, this is actually what's beneficial for my mental health. And so again, even having this conversation, I'm like, okay, I think I need to maybe do like once a week or like one day a week that I don't go on social media at all, or I need to like move my apps around so that they're not so automatic and easily accessible. Because yeah, all of the research is very much showing this, and we see it in our day-to-day lives.
I would love some counter, experiences. And again, everyone's individual experience is valid, but I think it's just like, in all the things we lay out in the research that we do have, like the screens aren't doing anything great for us as a whole.
Yeah.
And people know this intuitively of like, this app doesn't actually care about me. This app just wants my time, energy, and money.
Right.
Does it care about my well-being? No. But, we do all the thought experiences. Like when I look back in my life, none of us are going to be like, dang, I wish I was on my phone more.
Yeah.
But all of us, to some degree, struggle with this, in the varying degrees, some more and some less, because it hijacks that dopamine circuit. And if you're feeling a little bit bad, you're feeling a little bit stressed, it's right there for you. And you can just start scrolling.
Yeah, it's the ease and accessibility at our fingertips.
Yeah, it is. And it takes a exploration and courage to do differently.
Totally. And I don't think that should be minimized, right? Like trying something new or trying to break a habit or change any routine that you have, yeah, usually feels uncomfortable in the beginning. But uncomfortable doesn't mean bad. Uncomfortable actually usually is a good thing because that typically means growth.
And new. I often try to put that in my client's head of like, this uncomfortability, could it be new? And that's different than it's like, I went kayaking 3 times and every time. And I'm like, yeah, maybe kayaking's not for you. But like a lot of things you do once and you're like, yeah, but for the first time you've ever done it.
Right.
When you get that second J&J kayak trip in and you're a reward member with us and I punch your little ticket.
Frequent flyer.
The second time I punch your ticket and you're like,
oh my God.
That guy's all right, I think.
I literally can't.
As I push people out, I go, let's go! It's like echoing through nature.
Oh
There's no nature around. The birds have all like flown away. They're like, this is the most barren stretch of nature.
My God. I feel like if anything, we need to like start a retreat where we have just like a bunch of different activities that are screenless and we just like test them out with people.
Listen, I don't know if we have any millionaire or billionaire friends in our life. The answer is no, we don't. But that's a really good idea of like screenless retreats. And they have stuff like that. You can actually look stuff like that up.
You're welcome.
But ours would be better by far.
Yeah, that.
Maybe one day. In the meantime, gosh, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. We always do. Get curious about a number of things, especially it's so hard to get curious about the things that were just so ingrained in our daily life. Because it's just like, this is it. I have this smartphone. I can do whatever I want. But it's another thing to say, is this good for me? How does this impact me? Those are separate questions that unfortunately, whether it's your phone maker or your app maker, they're not always asking those questions. But we are right here on J&J Kayak Rentals.
Oh my God, I cannot.
Anywho, Thanks always for dropping in with us. We always appreciate your time. And we love a rate, a review, 5 stars, anything like that. We always love interacting with you. Drop it in the group chat. And we're going to see you right here next time on Drop In.
Bye.
Peace.